I like the way you summarized the author's main points, Linda. Now,
I'll try to get hold of the other book, Mrs. Lewis.
It was a good report, Linda.
Thank you.
Tom? Tom, I felt your report was good as far as it went. You summarized the book. But then you stopped. It would have been so much better if you had written down some of your own reaction to the book, especially how you felt about the last chapter. What did you think about the writer's statement that men no longer have any absolute standards of right and wrong, and therefore have no idea of how to deal with nature? No plan, no purpose. The writer feels that men no longer consider themselves in relationship with the rest of nature. With the rest of nature. With the wheat growing in the fields and the lives of the birds and the insects. Men think nothing anymore of destroying whole cycles of life. And in their place, in the place of living things, men substitute a mechanical and artificial world of their own, without life. What do you think of that, Tom?
Mrs. Lewis, I read the book and summarized it. Wasn't that enough? You gave me a C. I'm satisfied. That's a passing grade, and a passing grade is all I want out of this course.
But, Tom, I want you to have more than that. I do, Tom. I want you to have a sense of the living world and of your place in that world. I want you to understand something of the way the scientist looks at nature, the way the scientist strives to understand more about life.
Mrs. Lewis, why should I worry about that? When some scientists are working hard to destroy what other scientists are trying to understand.
But that's not what I meant, Tom.
Don't worry, I'm not brooding about the end of the world. Instead, I do the things I like to do. Like, I swim and read the books I want to read, and, well, I sing, and I've got my guitar, talk with my friends, sail my boat. There isn't anything I want that I don't have. Anything I really want.
But what about college, Tom? What's ahead for you? Folk songs, boats. That won't be enough.
Oh, I've always managed to get along, to do the things I like to do.
But Tom,
Mrs. Lewis, as a biologist, you should realize where man's struggle is led him. To the organization man and, well, the organization boy, who does what others tell him to do. Now, suppose I had written a 10-page report and put down all of my opinions and talked about the man's ideas. What would it all amount to? But before I knew it, I'd be anxious about making an A- instead of a B+. Linda and Bill wouldn't be my friends anymore. Instead, I'd always be trying to get ahead of them. I know what would happen. I'd be spending most of my time doing what other people want me to do. If I always do what others want, well, I'd lose a part of myself. I wouldn't be me anymore.
I haven't seen you for a while, Mr. Bowl. How are things going in the English department?
Simple, compound, complex. I've been hearing sentences like that all day long. I'm ready to go home.
Can I help you, Mrs. Lewis?
Could I have Tom Powell's record folder, please?
You're having difficulty with Tom Powell?
Do you know Tom?
He was in my class last year. Oh, yes, I know Tom. He never asked a question all year long. Not even a question to pretend that he was interested. He measured out everything he did. Just enough to get by with. Exactly enough to get by with, like a pharmacist measuring out drugs. Heaven knows I tried with Tom, but I remember other students in other ways. Students of 20 years ago. I can still see the light in their eyes. I can still hear the eagerness in their voices.
Here's Tom Powell's folder, Mrs. Lewis. Can I help you, Mr. Bowles?
Not just yet, thank you. Mrs. Lewis, may I have that folder a moment? I want to show you something. Not these things that other teachers have been saying about him ever since he started junior high school. Carbon copies, all of them. Not interested. Doesn't seem to care. But this. This is what I want you to see. Tom's scores on standardized tests. Tom has the potential to be one of the best students in his class. One of the best students in the whole school.
I walk away in the rain from those who would hold me and want me to say, yes, sir, that's right, sir, I'm going your way.